Hey, what's going on, you guys? Just starting another video. Wanted to touch on a subject that everybody right now in America is talking about. Excuse me. I'm sure you guys know about the Trayvon Martin case and Mr. Zimmerman and the altercation they had, which unfortunately ended in the death of a young teenager. And I just wanted to touch on some things that kind of concerned me about this whole ordeal and some of the things that I've experienced just perusing the internet and viewing some of the comments that have been made about the issue. And I think that issues like this, what they do is they they spark up old flames of the past. They incite old feelings from the past that some of our grandfathers and grandmothers had to deal with growing up in the 50s, I mean the 60s, and even way before then. And I think that amongst blacks there is a sense of caution when dealing with white people, which I don't really can't relate to because I don't, my whole life I've been around black and white people, and I don't hold one closer than the other. It's like I know black people that have screwed me over, and I've had white people that screwed me over, and I've even had Mexican people that have screwed me over. But that's besides the issue. And I think that it's so touchy is because people think that we are that far removed from the racial problems that had occurred years before today. And I'm here to tell you that we are not. That racism still is very prevalent throughout our communities. There's just a new way of hiding and going about it because I will say this, amongst the majority, racism is frowned upon. And most people will tell you, I don't agree with that. I think it's wrong, I think it's disrespectful, and I think it's ignorant. But with that being said, there is also a large portion of Americans that are still being taught old values and old customs that contradict our current uh, our current way of living today. That we know through common sense and analysis that are wrong. We know that skin color does not determine the kind of person you are going to become. It has more to do with your upbringing, where you were raised, who raised you. It's from a sociological perspective, those factors determine the kind of person that you're going to be. I think that, like I said, behind closed doors, I think a lot said. And that doesn't just include white people. That includes black people as well. Black people can be just as racist as white people can. And it's a serious issue that needs to be addressed. We're not that far removed from, the slangs of, Martin Luther King compared to the length that this country actually had to deal with racial issues, from slavery to discrimination to lynchings. We're talking about roughly 50 years compared to a 300 plus year long period that this was going on. I'm going to make this statement real quick and it'll probably piss a lot of people up. But it's time for America to grow the fuck up. Real talk, And if you don't believe me, our education's slipping. We're committing more crimes, more guns are being purchased. This isn't one person's fault, it's everybody's fault because we don't address the real issues, and we are a society that does not take accountability for their actions. That's the kind of society that we've become. We blame this on this, Oh, well, he did this. Well, Trayvon, he was a gangbanger. And then on that note, I have never seen a gangbanger wear a Hollister before, so the kid wasn't a gangbanger. He might have been acting tough, and trust me, there's a lot of hard-headed kids out here. I was doing the same thing when I was his age. I had my pants was sagging. I had pictures online and this, that, and the other, and talked big and bad about what I would do. Of course, this was like the '90s, but I had the same thing going on, but I was by no means a gangster. And there is no way that Mr. Zimmerman would be able to tell if that person was a gangster or if he was just an honorable citizen, just like majority of the people. The same way that there's no way Trayvon would be able to tell if Mr. Zimmerman was some creep that was looking to ram him in his buttocks or whatever, do something crazy, or he was just a normal citizen. You know, there's no way, especially in today's society, because it's so crazy out here. There's so many crimes being committed now. I will say that this much, and this is just my take on it. I'm going to make a lot of people upset. With this case in particular, I'm hard pressed to believe. I honestly think that maybe Mr. Zimmerman was a little nervous about what was about this guy who he had never seen going into his neighborhood. And if he wanted to call the police, then fine, call the police. That's his right. If he sees suspicious action, you guys are right. A majority of people, I've seen people say, hey, he can do that if he wants to. Yes, he can do that. But here's where I have a problem with, is that when you are talking to the dispatch and they tell you to step your ass back, chances are they're going to send somebody out there to investigate the issue. If they say it's a gated community, they should have those people out there like that, or as soon as possible. Instead, this man chose to follow this kid. Now I want you to put yourself in Trayvon's shoes. A man's following you that you ain't never seen and never known. You're creeping out. He's on the phone with his girlfriend. He's like, babe, this dude's following me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where are you going? Like, you don't know this dude. And you're creeped out. And you're like, you know what I'm saying? He comes up to you and I don't know if he grabbed him or what. And said, if he grabbed me, you're getting swung on. And that's just common sense. If I don't know you and you grab me and I see that you're following me, I'm officially freaked the fuck out. So one of us has got to go to sleep that night. But I felt like in this case that Zimmerman thought that he was safe, which I feel like he was kind of inviting trouble, because you never know what people are thinking about. You never know what people are going to do. You have every right to investigate to a certain degree, but you can't issue a citizen's arrest if there is nothing to arrest for. A hoodie is not validation and does not give you a right, probable cause rather, to, it's reasonable suspicion. You can be suspicious all you want and you can ask the question, where you going? But he ain't got an answer. He was moving about his business. He was trying to get away with you. Clearly, you were out of his line of sight. And this is me talking. If I was to say this to Zimmerman, you were out of his line of sight. What he should have done was backed off. Maybe dispatch would have sent somebody out there to investigate the issue further. But he felt like he had to take it upon himself to be the neighborhood policeman. And if that's what he felt, well, that's ended in another person's life, and now that's what begins the long road ahead to figure out what the hell's going on with this case. But I listened to the tape, the cries and everything. I shed tears. I couldn't help it. I tried not to. I tried to, look at it, the best I could. Listen to it rather, and it was disturbing. Anybody that's heard the tape knows that it was disturbing. But I just think that, when you have, when a kid, or there's 911 on the phone, Mr. Zimmerman, they're going to review the call, of course. Like, the kid says, help me or stop. Clearly he's done. You know what I'm saying? Go about your business. There's no need to put extra bullet in him. I think the issue's been resolved after you shoot. I don't know if he shot him once and then he shot him again or whatever, but let the kid go. He's a kid. You know what I'm saying? I find it really hard to believe that you are 300, and this is me speaking to Zimmerman, 350 pounds, or however the hell else you weigh, how much you weigh. You're way bigger than this kid. Is 6'2", 140 pounds. He's a walking stick figure. I have a hard time believing that he dropped you with a punch. Dude, and I do professional MMA. I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I've been in this game a long time. I don't believe for one second that he dropped you. I feel like he was probably trying to defend himself, and you probably felt like you had to do something about it. But like I said, it's neither here nor there. I think we're going to find out more and more. Him being an internet gangbanger is nothing new. Guess what? Everybody does it. So what? He gets suspended from school. I got suspended from school. I've smoked weed. None of those things have to do with what's going on right now because he was not selling drugs and he was not smoking weed at the time that this incident occurred. So all that goes out the window because if you're going to bring up those things that had happened prior, then you'd better bring up Mr. Zimmerman's things as well, the things that he has done wrong. And that's just my take on it. But, in conclusion, I know it's cliche, in conclusion, you know what I'm saying? We'll go high school. I feel like we got a real problem in America, I'm fortunate enough, to have been raised around a lot of different races and a lot of different cultures. So I've seen so much that I'm able to have an unbiased eye. And maybe Mr. Zimmerman, something happened that we didn't see and Mr. Zimmerman was right. I want to find out all the details. But for right now, I'm going by just what I know. And as we slowly go on, we find out more. Just because a person has prior offenses and has done wrong does not mean that he deserves to die. I want to put that out there because I've seen a lot of hate. If you go to Yahoo, you guys will be amazed at some of the most racist things I've ever heard in my life. And, blacks not being educated, they're being gorillas, apes, monkeys, just pure ignorance spewed out of people's mouth. I speak on behalf of black people and actually minorities, period. We're not all drug dealers. We don't all go out shooting and stealing. I'm college educated, went and graduated. My wife is white, by the way. College educated, has a great job. We both, have our own home, our own cars, pay our own bills, and, have a little baby girl of our own. And we're not all out here killing. I don't have no criminal history at all. You're more than happy to look up my record if you want to. But there needs to be a serious change of consciousness here in America. We've got to start killing these old traditions and customs. And the old saying goes that they die hard, but they got to die now because, it's 2012. This racism stuff is so played out. I honestly believe that there is nothing more American than racism. We put the stamp on it. When people look at our country, they go, hey, these people had a civil war, over slavery. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care. I hear this bullshit all the time. Well, it wasn't over slavery. It was about the South's rights or whatever. It was over slavery. They wanted to keep slaves. They didn't. The North said, no, you can't keep them. War broke out. La-di-da-di. South got their ass kicked. In turn, you know what I'm saying? Slavery dies. And racism should have died with that. I think now we have way too many resources around us for us to still be tripping over petty things such as skin color. We have bigger issues at hand that we need to start focusing on right now. And that's pretty much my take on it. I agree for Trayvon's family. I definitely said my prayers for him. And no, once we get more information, I think a lot of things will come to light. But I think everybody can empathize with this family, losing a loved one. So, that's pretty much my take on it. You guys take care. God bless you. Peace.